Welcome to the podcast. It's the magical holidays. Time for Joe watching 60 Christmas movies in 60 days. Why, you might ask? Because it sounds like a crazy task to be watching 60 Christmas movies in 60 days. It'll be struggle, no I won't lie. By the halfway point I will lose my mind, but with your support I'm gonna be fine. So let's have a blast on this Christmas time. Join me now and let's find out about today's Christmas movie. Was it good or bad? Happy or sad? Is there another dead mom and dad? Let's get to it with no delay. It's your old pal Joe and he's happy to say welcome to Joe watches 60 Christmas movies in 60 days.
How's it going, everybody? It's me, it's your old pal Joe, and thanks for joining me for a very special episode. That's episode 30 of Joe Watches 60 Christmas Movies in 60 Days. If you can do that math, and I know you can. We are halfway through after this episode. Halfway through. Isn't that miraculous? It sure is. I don't know how I'm going to make it the rest of the way. But no matter what, I can say that I've made it this far. They can't take that away from me. We've made it to 30. That is just delightful. And what a movie to have for our 30th episode. But before we get into that, let us talk about our good friends over at Third Eye Comics. Third Eye Comics is the exclusive sponsor of Joe Watches 60 Christmas Movies in 60 Days Season 4. Couldn't be any better to have them as a sponsor. Without them, Season 4 wouldn't have existed. But then maybe without them, I wouldn't have decided to put myself through this torturous offense just a terrible task. A terrible task. Oh my goodness, this is just the worst. I will never I promise you here on episode 30, I will never do this again. I may do something else next time, but this, I can't do this. Oh my God. Third Eye Comics. It's a wonder though. You can go to their website, thirdeyecomics.com, or you can go to one of their physical locations. You can buy something that'll make you a lot happier than I am right now. So if you are interested in purchasing something, maybe for the holidays, please go over to shop.thirdeyecomics.com and check them out. Support them as a thank you for them supporting me. Now, let's talk about the movie. Today's movie is The Christmas Chain. During the beginning of the movie, there's all the production companies that made the movie. And then I saw one that made me wonder, what is this movie going to be about? And it was the production company listed as Mendez National Institute of Transplantation Foundation. And I thought, is this movie going to be about organ transplants? It sure is. We open with a couple of men in fatigues walking through a train station. One of them is feeling a bit weary. This sick man is our main character, Jerome. Well, he's not sick. He's injured. His name is Jerome. The other soldier, Dez, who is his brother, offers to go ahead and get their tickets. Just then, a very pretty lady walks up, and Jerome uses this opportunity to ask her advice on some wrapping paper he used on a gift. He should be more worried about the fact that the box that he has in his hands has been absolutely crushed during his journey. I mean, this box looks like it's been destroyed. It's already a flat box, kind of like you might put a tie in, but you can see in the movie that it has been crushed underneath its something else's weight. And he's holding it up like, is this wrapping paper any good? And it's like, buddy, there are tears in your wrapping paper. Why are you worried about whether that wrapping paper is any good? Anyway, he's just doing it to flirt, and then he and the lady flirt a lot. We learn the lady is named Sabrina, and she's a singer. Just then, the other soldier, again his brother named Dez, and they are biological brothers. If you're wondering, it's not just a term of endearment. When he returns with some other folks, and it's the band that travels with Sabrina. We learn that Jerome is fresh out of the hospital from having surgery. Sabrina says her and her band just performed for some servicemen, and they're all going back home on the same train. She means same, well, not what she means. The movie is basically setting it up so that everybody we see here is going to be going back home on the same train. We learn that Dez and Jerome are waiting for a doctor to join them on the trip, and she's not there yet. Also, when Sabrina sat down on the train, something fell out of her pocket. A conductor visits the train car everyone is in and explains how they're aboard some historical train. I'm guessing it's a real train that's really historical, and they got permission to shoot on the train. Finally, the doctor arrives, and they're off. And this is what we'll learn piece by piece. This is a doctor there for Jerome's well-being. As the train takes off, Des looks back and winks at Sabrina the singer. She smiles. The band member she's sitting next to says, "The big one looks cute." He's talking about Des. She agrees. Or actually, she laughs, but she also agrees. On the train, Des calls their mom to let them know that Jerome and he are on their way. After the call, the mom says it's going to be a special Christmas this year. During the trip, Jerome tries hard to make conversation with Sabrina the singer and gets invited to sit next to her. We learn that he was in the hospital for a long time. We also learn that Jerome has a big family. When he describes some markets his family owns and run, it turns out Sabrina has heard of them. She says, "Your family must be rich." And he denies it a few times, but then admits, yes, his family does pretty well for themselves. She asks why he enlisted and says it's because he wanted to do good in the world. He claims Des says he's joined because he thought he would look good in a uniform. Sabrina agrees he does. Jerome pretends to be wounded by this, but Sabrina says, "Well, I can't deny that you're both handsome men." Just then Des chimes in and asks, "Well, who's more handsome?" Sabrina doesn't answer, instead just saying, "Well, that's the $1,000,000 question." Then the whole group goes to get snacks. While there, the whole group includes the doctor and the band members. While there, the doctor, Dr. Pierce is her name, asks everyone what their favorite holiday traditions are. Sabrina says hers is caroling. One of the band members says his is mistletoe. Jerome says his mom's Christmas cookies are his favorite tradition. Des says Secret Santa is his. Lastly, Dr. Pierce says picking out the Christmas tree. Sabrina decides to ask Jerome straight up why he and his brother are traveling with a doctor. We learn that the doctor is a nephrologist. Jerome was in an accident and had to have a kidney removed. To lighten the mood, Des decides that it says it's time to play Secret Santa. I don't understand how you play Secret Santa, but that's what he says. He writes down everyone's names on a little piece of paper, and then he gets a cup, and everyone picks out a name. He says there's a $5 maximum, but they prefer handmade gifts, and then everybody has until 4 p.m. to come up with their gift. The conductor of the train then walks in and asks Sabrina if she's with the band who just performed for some servicemen, and Sabrina says, "I am." And she goes, "Well, we have a group of veterans who are on their way back to an assisted living facility. Would it be possible for you guys to give them a show before the train arrives?" Sabrina says, that would be great. And then she goes off to prepare. With everyone else gone, Jerome accuses Des of trying to help him with Sabrina. And Des says, "No, I'm not trying to help him. I'm trying to get her too." Now, he doesn't word it that crudely, but the implication here is he's not trying to help his brother get with Sabrina. He is also interested in her. He heads back to the seating car where everyone is, and he starts chatting with the doctor about Jerome. He's worried because sometimes it seems like Jerome isn't really there. And the doc says, well, it could be the result of his injury, and to give him time, he'll come around. But then Sabrina the singer realizes she lost her lipstick. That's what fell out of her pocket. And it's not just her lipstick, it's her lucky lipstick. Everyone scrambles to find it in time for the show because she does not go on without it. Eventually the band goes off to set up, and Des continues to help her look for the lipstick. And he goes, "Look, we might not be able to find it now, but I want you to know that you are, and I've only known you for a little while, you are one of the most beautiful, kind, and capable people I've ever met." He had met her mere hours ago, and he's already saying she is one of the most beautiful, kind, and capable people he's ever met. Anyway, this convinces her to perform without her lucky lipstick. The band starts with Deck the Halls. They perform for a single minute. Everyone claps. That is the end of their performance. Afterward, Des gives Sabrina a big hug, annoying Jerome. Des asks if anyone wants to play cards. Jerome is out. This leads to Des and Sabrina playing cards on their own, but more so they're really talking about Jerome and his accident. It was a car accident. He has his one kidney got injured, and then there was an infection. He's going to be on dialysis unless he can get a transplant. Sabrina knows about dialysis because her grandmother went through it and passed away. At this point, Jerome walks into the room, but he hears them talking, so he kind of hides around the corner to listen in. As I mentioned, Des explains that Jerome needs a transplant, and soon, because they don't know how long the dialysis will actually help. He talks about how the family can't really help. The parents are too old to go through the process, and their sister has a family, so Jerome won't let her donate. Des, though, he's ready, willing, and able to donate, but Jerome doesn't want him to even get tested to see if he's a match. But unbeknownst to Jerome, Des did anyway. Unfortunately, he's not a match. We then catch up with the brothers having some lunch. Jerome has to take some pills. He seems very annoyed. We know, but his brother finds out it's because he heard Des talking to Sabrina and telling her about his injury and his need of a donation. And he's really annoyed by the whole thing. We find out that Des feels guilty about not being able to fix things, or as he put it, quote, everything that's happened since the accident. It's very confusing what he thinks he could do differently other than maybe being able to donate a kidney. And then it's time for the gift exchange. People have wrapped gifts. I'm very confused as to how this is possible. What do they sell on this train? One of the band members got another band member a drawing of the band he drew. He drew the band. It's not like he just found the drawing of the band. He drew the band. It's very well done. Good job, band member. The doctor got another band member a mug, which she had with her. She says it was a re-gift. And the mug says, "Let's get renal." But the thing is, it's just a sticker on top of a mug, so it looks like shit. Des got Sabrina. He gives her a business card of a friend who's in the music industry. He says this guy's always telling him to let him know if he comes across any special talent. And he says, I did today. He even recorded the performance she did for the veterans and sent it over. And the guy is excited to meet with Sabrina and the band. Everyone claps. But then there's an electrical issue on the train, and the train stops. The conductor comes back and says there's going to be a delay. Fortunately, though, they cut out near a town nearby, and the conductor allows them to depart with plans of picking them up before the train leaves after it gets fixed. So everyone gets off. On the way out, Jerome drops something, and when he goes to retrieve it, he finds Sabrina's lucky lipstick. Cut to the whole group wandering around town. They eventually find a restaurant that's still open despite the fact that it's Christmas Eve. The proprietor of the restaurant is very brusque and very rude. The clock tells us it's about 7:30. Everyone has had their meal now. Des goes off to call his and Jerome's mom and let them know about the delay. This leaves Jerome and Sabrina to talk on their own. He asks Sabrina if anyone is waiting for her at home. Nope. She does mention like she has a good neighbor that she's pals with or something, but the short end of it is that no, there's no one waiting for her. Talk then turns to gifts. Jerome notes that it seemed hard for Sabrina to accept the business card. She admits it can be hard to accept help, but then she turns around on him and says, look, if someone woke up one day and offered to give you a kidney, wouldn't you find it hard to accept such a large gift? It makes Jerome think. It's now getting late and there's still no update about the train. They decide to ask the guy running the diner if there are any taxis around. Before he can answer, one of the band members trips, breaking a plate, and the business owner, the diner owner, he gets really mad. But then Des, off to the side, talks to the cook about the owner, and it turns out he's actually a really nice person. He just puts on this demeanor because he's had a rough go of it. He tells a story about how he stayed open one night when there was lots of snow just to give people without a home a place to stay. Just then, Jerome uses the bathroom. The regular one's out of order, so he has to use the employee bathroom. And inside, he sees some of the pills that are similar to the ones he takes. After talking about it with the doctor, it seems that maybe the owner also has to do dialysis. That makes them more understanding of his demeanor. Then a band member asks if they can play music. The owner pulls out an old radio, and they tune it into some station playing Christmas music, and boy, do they have fun. Everyone dances. And this whole thing seems to soften the owner up a bit. But then a guy from the train comes by and tells them that the repairs are still ongoing. They don't even know when it'll be fixed. The owner offers to stay open as long as needed. Everyone appreciates it. They also decide to make the best of it. They decide to decorate the diner using paper and other stationery goods that they have on them. Eventually, Sabrina talks to Dr. Pierce, and we basically get to learn about the National Donor Registry. Now, within the context of the movie, it's Sabrina learning about how donations work, how kidney donors work, and what's needed. But it's really just a lesson for us, the viewer, on how the National Kidney Donation Registry works. We learn about how people can donate and how, in a way, it becomes a chain. So the idea that they explain in this movie is that you can sign up for the National Kidney Donation Registry, but you may not be a donor for someone specific. Like I say my buddy needs a kidney and I sign up, and I'm not a match for him. But by going through this process, I agree to not just give him a kidney, but just to give anybody who needs a kidney. And when I do that, he then gets a voucher that says that basically he's owed a kidney, so that'll help him get a kidney from somebody else who is a match. And this could inspire someone else to do so. So like if, now I'm inspired because my buddy got a kidney. Maybe I'm going to sign up for the National Registry. And wouldn't you know it, that is sort of like a chain. Hence the name of the movie, The Christmas Chain. We cut to Jerome updating his mom outside. She's not outside. He's on the phone talking to her outside. And who should join him but Sabrina? She tells Jerome that she got his name in the Secret Santa. She also tells him that she learned about how donating works, and that they have matching blood types. She found out from the doctor what type of blood type Jerome has. She'd like to try donating a kidney to Jerome. She's been searching her whole life to find something that she can give to this world. She started with singing since it brought joy to others, but then she saw what happened to her grandmother and now to Jerome and knew she could do more. She asked him to please say yes to letting her try to give him a kidney. He does. We jump over to the band and Sabrina doing a rendition of Joy to the World. Afterward, we finish the exchanging of Secret Santa gifts, but Dez has one special announcement. Once he heard what Sabrina was doing for Jerome, it inspired him to see what he could do. He's going to find out if he is a match with the owner of the diner, and if he is, he'd like to give him a kidney. The owner is stunned. He gives Dez a big hug. But we find out there's one more gift remaining because Jerome got Dez in the Secret Santa exchange. He gives Dez a handmade medal of sorts for being such an amazing brother. Everyone claps. Just as the clock strikes midnight, the conductor comes in to let them know that the train is back up and running. What a Merry Christmas it is. Before leaving, Dez invites the owner of the diner to his family's house for Christmas. Back on the train, Jerome invites Sabrina to join his family for Christmas as well. She can even bring the band. She accepts. She leans her head on his shoulder as the train takes off. Dez looks around and sees this and smiles. He turns to one of the band members who's sitting next to him now and says, I gave it my best shot, implying that he really did want to get with Sabrina. Cut to Jerome and Sabrina and Dez arriving at their parents' place. Jerome finally remembers to give Sabrina her lipstick, and she's very excited. I should also let you know that the house they're going to is humongous. Then the band arrives, and they all enjoy a big Christmas dinner. But there's one more knock on the door. Who could it be? It's the diner owner. We end with Jerome and Sabrina chatting, and then they kiss, and that's the end. But during the credits, we get a bit more story. First, we start with people opening Christmas gifts, from that family that they're celebrating Christmas with. But then there's some shots of Sabrina in a recording studio. Somehow, the implication being that business relationship Dez introduced her to has worked out, and she's actually going to get to record in some sort of proper way. And after that, we then get some shots of Sabrina and Jerome in side-by-side hospital beds, implying that she did, in fact, give him a kidney of hers. Lastly, we get some shots of Jerome and Sabrina at their wedding. They got married. They were meant to be. We all knew it was going to be wedding bells for those two lucky kids. And that is it for The Christmas Chain. That's it. I don't have anything else to say about this movie. It was fine. Who's the MVP of this movie? I'm going to go with Dez as the MVP of this movie. Although there were no terrible performances. Everybody was fine. It was just a very, very, very small movie with 6 or 7 cast members that we focused on the entire time, with only 3 sets that we only ever saw. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Most of these movies are just that. They're fine. So that's it for episode 30. We're halfway done. I guess we can make it. I don't have any confidence just because I don't know what else to think about anymore. Thanks for hanging around. Thanks for listening. I appreciate your time and your support. I know that these episodes have gotten shorter and shorter. I don't know what I'm doing differently other than I'm taking what I think are better notes. Instead of focusing on the minutia, I'm just focusing on more what happens and writing down important quotes. But maybe that makes for a worse listening experience. I don't know. Maybe you could let me know on social media at JOEMOC. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. Let me know what you think about the show and this current format, this current evolution. And, maybe there's a way I can do it even better. So that's it for episode 30. Again, thank you for listening. Thanks for your support. And I'll talk to you again in episode 31 because that's what we're doing. We're doing 60 of these bad boys. Take care.